Good evening, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about digital storytelling. I'm going to be talking about foreign language Spanish. My name is Sarah Craig. I am a Spanish 1 and Spanish 2 teacher at El Dorado High School in Arkansas. I'm really excited about talking about digital storytelling, and this is one of my favorite quotes from doing research on this project. The craft of using technology is to tell a story. So here we go. So digital storytelling, what is it? So it's a use of media. So what I found is that you can use different texts, visuals, music, video, and voice. It is also a digital method that shares a wider audience. The storytelling format makes the case. So it can be more convincing, it can sway an audience, increase donations, and create a connection to the audience. Especially with teaching a foreign language, having visuals, music, video, and voice to help my students understand the content more, digital storytelling is definitely one of the top resources that I use in my classroom. Why should I implement digital storytelling into my course? So here are some educational goals and objectives. It can enhance lessons, causing higher order thinking skills, appeals to diverse learning styles, assigns research to require a point of view, practice communication skills, entice writing skills, especially for English, science, and math, engage students to develop a meaningful voice, and encourage technology skills. Creating a digital assignment. So you want to encourage your students to plan. You can provide a rubric or criteria to follow, a scripting 200 to 300 word script, storyboard and create a digital sequence, recording voice, add music, editing, fine-tuning that can have titles, transitions, credits, saving, and sharing. So here, Ruby Star, this is what I use in my classroom, so we're going to check this out really quick. Just a second. Okay, so I have actually used this before. It's really neat. So you put your name, first and last name, the project name, digital storytelling, the zip code, and then you get to choose your categories. You can have those categories, and then you can put from 4 all the way to 1. And this is an awesome tool for you to use. And then you submit, and then you can preview your rubric. All right, here we go. So starting a digital story. So you look at the assignment. You ask, what do I want to tell? You use text. Then you ask yourself, what emotion do I want to convey for my students to be able to understand, or how do I want to present it? So you gather all the images to bring the story to life. You gather the sound to bring images to life. You use voice, background soundtrack, and then you spend time assembling the story for students to understand fully. So here are some types of digital stories. Number 1, personal narratives. You can have character stories, memorial stories, stories about events or places in our lives, stories about what we do, recovery and discovery stories, and love stories. A second one, examination of historical themes and events. So you can explore and depict a historical theme. You can require students to research a topic, and then you can use informational and media literacy skills. And number 3, stories that inform or instruct. So curriculum content, which delivers information. In Spanish, as being a foreign language, having that curriculum content that makes sure that you develop and you instruct the grammar. You instruct the short storytelling, TBR short storytelling. And you want it to be motivational, inspirational, and it can also be a testimonial as well. So here are some samples using PowerPoint and Animoto, which is another cool tool that I found for digital storytelling. So here are some things that have been done. So digital storytelling, social studies for 7th grade. So this one was one of my top picks. So this talks about George Washington Carver. It is a short 2-minute and 47-second video.
When you pick up a jar of peanut butter, or even a can of peanuts, you don't think of it as an invention. Well, just like every other invention, there's an inventor behind it. His name is George Washington Carver. George Washington Carver is many times associated with peanut butter, but it is not completely certain he made peanut butter. George Washington Carver was born on a farm in Diamond, Missouri, 1864. He was born a slave, so his exact birth date is unknown. His mom, Mary, was taken away not long after George's birth. George's brother, Jim, also died years later of smallpox in 18...
So what this is basically an overview of who George Washington Carver was, and it talks about his life story. And then you can have storytime videos with Amigo, and some of them can be from Historic Philadelphia, How to Make a Dessert, Caterpillar into Butterfly. This is a great video for elementary teachers, middle school teachers. So, educational fair use. So, copyright information. So, the law provides 4 non-exclusive factors to be used in determining whether a use is fair. You know, we know that they're commonly referred to as the 4 fair use. Those are the purpose of the use, including whether the use is a commercial use or for nonprofit educational purposes, the nature of the work, the amount used, and the effect on marketing or value of the original work. So copyright, Copywrong, this is a great website to look at. And then Code of Best Practices and Fair Use for Media Literacy Education. So we're going to look at this website. In this website, it just talks about the Code of Best Practices. So what is it? To document is the Code of Best Practices. What it isn't, it does not tell you the limits of fair use rights. Instead, it's describing how those rights should apply in certain recurrent situations. Educators and students' fair use rights may, of course, extend to other situations as well. Gathering media images. So we want to gather really good images for the use for our students and for us teachers as well. And here are a couple of websites that you can look at. And then this one, especially for presentations, it includes a copyright-free audio. Adding audio is the most easily used audio file, which is an MP3. So tool to record, I've given you a couple of websites, and then to add music, you can have these 3 files, and it's copyright-free, which is super important. PowerPoint enhancement tutorials. So these 2 are tutorials in creating a PowerPoint animation, and I here provided a little picture, and then adding animations as well. Here are 2 different ways. If you have a PC program, Microsoft Photo Story 3, still images, videos, Windows Movie Maker, PowerPoint and Web Tools, Animoto, and then for the Mac, if you have a Mac, iPhone, Apple, iMovie, PowerPoint, and Web Tools. Alright, so what makes a good digital story? 7 elements of effective digital storytelling. You have a point of view, a dramatic question, emotional content, economy, pacing, the gift of your voice, and then an accompanying soundtrack. So here, you collect your stories now. You develop a sample digital story for your course, or you can design a digital assignment for your students. And using Screen-O-Matic is a great tool, especially if you are provided with Chromebooks, and you can record a lesson and import it into Google Classroom, which is also another great resource for students. And here are my references. Now I'm going to go and look at my reflection paper. So the general benefits of digital storytelling include advanced cognitive development, self-authoring, and identity construction. And I steered it more towards a foreign language classroom. So it has great potential because most digital projects in the U.S. are typically completed in English courses for native speakers, according to Davis and Cater. And as an extension of it, other researchers and authors to English speakers of another language have implemented digital story projects with adolescents learning English. This helps the best practice, especially writing in a foreign language classroom, the usage of multiple draft approach and using that rubric that I showed you guys previously at the beginning of this presentation. A digital storytelling project necessitates using a multiple draft approach as well as obtaining feedback from teachers and peers. Teacher feedback in digital storytelling is compromised because of the formative yet substantive content and language feedback, whereas peer feedback includes general, holistic, and effective comments. And here are my references. Thank you so much.